Did you know that the prisons of the United States of America is not a correctional institution, but a business? Did you know that paying one's debt to society takes on literal terms in the prison system? Did you know that you can pay to get out of prison, not just paying bail to get out of holding while you wait for your trial, but you could literally pay your way out of prison? The price is so astronomically high that most people can't afford this. I was going to fill this information up with a bunch of numbers and facts that will help you to understand the real ramifications and the huge profits made off of this industry. But I feel like if you're finding this video, these numbers are just going to confuse you, so I'll just tell you how it is. The way it's set up in prison is if you work in prison to maintain the prison, the functionality of the prison itself, i.e. being a cook, a janitor, or running the library, or any sort of job you can find within the prison to help the prison continue to function. You could work your sentence from its maximum sentence, maybe 15 years for manslaughter, down to 1 year for manslaughter if you were to work all the time and have the right job. It is possible, very difficult, but theoretically possible, to get your sentence down to the minimum. This may not be possible from within the prison walls, though. You will have to rely on things like the PIECP program. As far as legislation goes, PIECP was originally authorized under the Justice System Improvement Act of 1979, Public Law 96-157, Section 827. The Crime Control Act of 1990, Public Law 101-647, authorizes continuation of the program indefinitely. In simple terms, this allows private organizations and companies to hire inmates and effectively pay them around 20% of what they would have to pay an employee that was not incarcerated. These are mostly industry jobs like warehouses, factories, but some can land themselves in office positions depending on what they're in jail for. This is obviously very valuable for companies who are really trying to cut their costs. As of current, there are around 222 business partnerships with private organizations that hire inmates to do work for a lot less pay. Now, these inmates don't just work to relieve pressure from companies. They are working, and their service is actually generating money to pay the lawyers in the judicial system, the judges in the judicial system. They call it, and they wrap it up in what's called legal fines, legal fees, and court fines. And this is why the prisoner never really receives much of the money. Most prisoners get paid under $1 a day in prison, which is far less than 20% of most any minimum wage you could find anywhere in the United States. But wrapped up in legislation and litigation, it's legal to pay people under $1 a day for their work. And with this PIECP program, it allows companies to take use of actual skilled individuals and pay them almost a slave wage. This does generate money for the judicial system, because where the judicial system may have had to outsource and hire a different company that is not a part of the PIECP program, then they can just pay them a lot less than they would have to pay some other private contractor. But at the end of the day, they could also sell those services and get paid by those contractors. This is all money exchange above the prisoner's head, and money is just being made off of prisoners. As long as people do crimes, there will be an industry for this. But it's hard for people to not do crimes when they're placed in a crime-driven environment and a criminal financial system to begin with. Not fitting into a sociopathic conformation of society does not make one ill in the mind, but one may confuse this person as a social pariah or criminal, and the extremists of these times would call them a terrorist.